Remember the Burning Sun scandal where multiple K-pop idols were involved in the raping and trafficking of young women through a nightclub that one of them owned in Seoul, South Korea? Well, BBC just dropped a documentary about it with new details and footage that has never been seen before, and whether you've seen it or not, let's talk about it. So if you know anything about K-pop, you know that before BTS there was a group called Big Bang, and the youngest member of the group was a guy named Seungri who was only 15 when they debuted. Well, Seungri became known for his partying lifestyle, and he loved the partying lavish lifestyle so much that he even became to be known as Seungspeed, known after the Great Gatsby. And he opened up a club in the most affluent district of Seoul, South Korea, known as Gangnam at the Le Meridian Hotel, known as the Burning Sun. And Seungri and a couple of his other K-pop idol friends, including Choi Jong-hoon, who was the lead guitarist of the Korean rock band known as FT Island, and Chung Jun-yeon, who was a very popular singer at the time, amongst a couple of other K-pop idols, but these three were the most active. And they would send each other videos through a group chat of themselves taking advantage of women. For instance, in this video, before he says, "Hey friend," he had just groped a woman who clearly did not want that to happen. And those videos of themselves taking advantage of and forcing themselves onto women were hidden camera videos, which means that they were completely illegal. And they would laugh about it. And I mean, they would laugh about some of the most despicable things that I've ever read. Yep. And at Seungli's club, the Burning Sun, which at the time was the largest and most hyped up club in all of Seoul, South Korea. And because it was so hot at the time, they were able to sell VIP tables for upwards of $75,000 a table some nights. And because they paid such a disgusting number for just a table at a club, these men would think that they deserve something more for paying $75,000 a table. And because the club was owned by Seungri, who himself was using the club to grape women, they set aside an area that was further down below than the rest of the club that was built specifically for the use of these super VIP customers. And if one of the VIPs fancied one of the women that were at the club that night, it would be the responsibility of the employees of Burning Sun to get that woman for the VIP no matter what it took. And this is an actual text exchange between some of the workers that worked there to help find a woman, and oftentimes they would use substances to drug these women. For instance, a young woman who frequented the Burning Sun decided to get a VIP table with all of her girlfriends one night, and after only 1 or 2 drinks, she started to feel really drunk. And in fact, the last thing she remembers is telling one of her girlfriends, "I think I need to stop drinking because I'm feeling way too drunk only after 1 or 2 drinks." And the next thing she knows, she wakes up naked in a hotel room with a guy that she doesn't know. And afterwards, in order to be able to go home safely, even after she told the man, "Please, I just want to go home because I miss my mother," he forced her to take a selfie with her where she's forced to smile and put up a peace sign so that afterwards he could say that it was all consensual. A female patron of the Burning Sun was even secretly recorded while being essayed inside of this red bathroom and went viral after it was uploaded online. Chung Jun-young and Choi Jong-hoon even one of Chung Jung-yeon's fans at the club with multiple other men and secretly filmed it. And they quite literally thought that they were above the law. And they essentially did, because they had a really high-ranking man in the police department in their pocket who ended up being so high-ranking that he worked directly for the president of Korea, whose identity was only revealed because K-pop idol Hara knew Choi Jong-hoon from their training days before they debuted, used her connection to urge Choi Jong-hoon to give her the identity of that police officer that she then gave over to the reporter, who then shortly after outing this high-ranking police officer allegedly took her own life. And even before this scandal broke, Seungri, who was under the YG label, starred in this documentary for Netflix called YG's Future Strategy Office, where they pretended like all of the misfits from the YG label were being sent to this office. And in that documentary, every single member of Blackpink talked about how uncomfortable Seungri made them feel. And Jennie from Blackpink at one point on stage in front of a live audience even said to Seungri, "Hey, I heard you say that I touched your shoulder at the background, but I never did that." Jung Jun-yeon was only sentenced to 6 years in prison after being convicted of SA, as well as secretly recording women, and then had his sentence reduced to 5 years because he wrote a letter about how sorry he was. Choi Jong-hoon was only sentenced to 5 years in prison after being convicted of 2 separate instances of SA, and then had his sentence reduced to 2 years and 6 months because he reached a settlement with his victims. Seungri was only sentenced to 3 years in prison for 9 different charges, but was released only after 18 months, is currently now a free man, and was even seen doing appearances in Malaysia as recently as January of this year. And even with the closing of the Burning Sun close to 5 years ago, the nightclubs in South Korea are still actively participating in the trafficking of young women. And with a system that shows that they clearly don't care about the well-being and safety of Korean women, it's no wonder that Korean women are fighting the patriarchy and refusing to mate with Korean men.